Michael Abelman is a writer and a photographer, but above all, he is a farmer. His words and photographs have introduced thousands of people to sustainable agriculture. In the summer of 2003, Michael and his oldest son Aaron traveled across America, leaving their own farm behind, and began a new book about good, wholesome food and the people who produce it. This is just a piece of their journey.
We got to get back to the highway.
Where are we here first?
That's a good question.
So, where are we going? I think it's about 6 hours.
That's not too far.
Why am I going on this journey? I've had an amazing fascination with not only understanding some of the finer techniques of what my colleagues are doing around the country, but understanding what it is that drives them to do the work that they do. Every one of these people that we're visiting, they have mastered their craft. Many of them have achieved a certain status in agriculture that most people would not attribute to agriculture, and that is they have become artisans.
By early October, Michael and Aaron are in northeastern Oregon visiting Gene Teal, who grows organic potatoes on 160 acres of rich glacial soil near the banks of Wallowa Lake.
You grab a hill and I'll grab a hill. A couple of guys.
Oh, those are beauties.
These are pretty,
Look at
aren't they? Woo. You know, you develop potato hands, so you can sense a potato in the soil. These really market nice at the farmer's market. You wash them and they get real
they're beautiful.
bright. When they look like that, they'll sell themselves.
Quite fantastic. Look at that. Man, one of my favorite things in the world to do is hand-digging potatoes.
Sift around for potatoes,
It's
yeah.
like a treasure hunt, you know?
Yep.
Gene Teal is amazing. I mean, when you meet the man, you have a sense that this is someone who embodies perseverance. He's been thinking about this stuff for a very long time.
This is the right texture for potatoes and the right dryness.
Yeah.
It's not subby or wet. So when I saw this ground, I knew it was, you could see in the plants extreme health. You know?
Yeah.
And you could see in the landscape the health. You could see it's rich, a rich climate.
He derives great satisfaction out of just being in his field, even sleeping in his field, working with his land and harvesting on his own. His satisfaction to some degree is embodied in the work that he's doing every day. That's what's keeping him going. I think I asked him, if you had a choice, would you have maybe done something else? He said this is what was laid before him, and he never asked questions about that. That was who he was. He does it very well.
I don't think I ever really considered choices. And that's a complex thing. You follow a path and you end up where you end up because of more reasons than you have the ability to control. What was in it for me was, I guess, basic honesty with the land. We never can separate ourselves from the land and how the land is stewarded or cared for. I think people are so far removed from it that they don't understand what makes them whole and the soil whole would make literally a nation more prosperous if they really sustained the soil and didn't betray the health of it.
It's the basis of life, in a sense. I mean, you know, it's interesting. People still assume that soil is the farmer's business, but it's everybody's business.
Gene Teal has farmed organically all his life because he believes it's the right thing to do.
It's really a moral equation and a spiritual equation, value and honesty, and it's really a moral proposition. You can't betray it because or else you're kind of just spinning your wheels, it seemed like. Why would you pretend there's any future for another generation or like for your children or your grandchildren?
There's a bigger picture here, one which involves labor, energy, and the social issues that occur from our separation from the land and the source of our food. The health of Gene's farm and the quality of the food he grows is based on his understanding of natural processes.
I know that there's more knowledge out there about the universe and nature and ourselves than I'll ever comprehend, and it's exciting, but sometimes it gets to be overwhelming, extremely emotionally overwhelming.
just about everyone we're visiting are people who have been at it for a while. I remember when people talked to me like organic farming was the craziest thing in the world. All of us, I think, have gone through a period where it was pretty much uphill. It was uphill to survive at what we were doing. It was uphill to get the kind of acceptance and acknowledgement and recognition. That has changed.
There's a significant difference in the way Gene's potatoes taste from ones that you purchase in a supermarket. These are organically grown, and that's a highlight for our customers. They like to have a product that they know there are no chemicals on them, and they just simply, the bottom line is they taste better, which is why we serve them here.
He said he was starting to get a little hungry.
What made you think that?
Wasn't exactly
I was worried about you, Gene.
He was eyeing those raw potatoes there.
I know. Well, you see, there's one of those raw potatoes missing there.
Jane, did you feel he'd start on the new potato?
How were they?
Very tasty.
This is the farmer who grew them.
It's always nice to meet the person that grew the food that you're eating.
Yeah. So they were good, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they actually know me and the product, and I'll meet them on the street, and they'll wave, hey, they'll even wave, "Hey, potato man." That happens about every week if I'm important enough. Or even be in a restaurant. Somebody across the restaurant will have their wave their arm, "Hey, potato man," and that's a very sustaining thing.
When farmers reach a point where they are recognized and appreciated by the public in that way, then we have accomplished a great deal.
When you pick, Sundays when I'm picking these or washing them, bagging them, I start musing to myself or wondering who all the people would be or are going to be that will eat these, because these will all be consumed next week in Portland. When I wash these things, it's almost like you have an affiliation with these people that are going to be consuming them, and it's an extended family. Whoa, I got that way over.
I've discovered that this movement is more than just about growing food. It's been about how do we get young people to get involved with our profession. It's been about how do we get food, pure food, not only to those who can afford it, but to a broader range of the population.
Before continuing on their journey, Michael and Aaron joined Gene and Eileen Teal for a farewell dinner.
French picnic tart.
This journey really has been a conversation with all of my colleagues all across the country. Many of the farmers that I visited were less interested in the bottom line of their production than they were in whether or not the family down the street was eating their food. The economics, I think, were important to everyone because we have to survive. But very few of the farmers that we are visiting, I would say, held that as their highest priority. And yet most of them were doing well. So that told me something. That's part of what we're doing on this trip, is we want to tell all the good stories, and we want to recognize the people who have been making them happen. And we want to make those good stories available for people who are not farming.
Join Michael Abelman as he takes us on an intimate journey into the fields of America's master farmers in the television version of his new book, The Hands That Feed Us.